Welcome to Life Online Radio Station, Life's Best Online Radio. This is your Captain Teri P. Thank you so much for tuning in to Life Online Radio Station. And I am with the Noku Dlamini as promised. If you are online on our website, now what you can do is just refresh the website and you will be able to see us live on our radio station. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me just make sure that everything is in par. Everything is moving okay. That looks okay. And if you're joining us from Facebook, I just want to say thank you so much if you've joined us. If you came from Instagram and you are friends with Noku Dlamini and you are here, I just want to say thank you. So just to start head on, I am here with the Noku Dlamini, and she is a contemporary gospel singer. And you know what? I think the best thing is for me to ask to come and tell us about herself. Noku Dlamini, thank you so much for coming to Life Online Radio Station and gracing us with your presence. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This is great. So I'm originally from South Africa, and I am the third child of 5. So I have 3 brothers and 1 younger sister. Everyone is still in South Africa. I journeyed to the US in 2002, and initially it was just supposed to be just for a year. And then I decided, let's just study here. So fast forward 19 years later, here we are.
Wow, you must have been young because you look pretty young to me myself when I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I was 20 when I came here.
Wow, 20 years old on your own.
On my own. So I turned the big 21 in the US. My mom at least got to save some money because in South Africa, it's a big shebang that they do when you turn 21.
Yes.
So I turned 21 over here, and yeah, I've been here ever since. Started this music thing since 2008, but just now getting up to speed, right, as of 2020.
Okay, tell us more. I think I want to know more. Like I know you're from South Africa. What led you to who's Noku like background? Why did you have the feeling to move, to start music?
Yeah.
What is that driving force? There must be something behind.
So I can remember when I was 4, and my dad's friend used to come over to the house, and my dad would always ask me, or the right word in African culture, tell me to sing. So they tell you and you do it, right? So I remember singing then, and the look in everyone's faces. I mean, obviously I didn't go, wow, it looks awesome, so I'm going to do this when I grow up. But it was more of they were excited. So I thought, oh, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So then you grow up and you meet people that will tell you, being an artist, you can't make money. You will never make money. So you need a real job. So then I thought, okay, well, then what's a real job? I guess I can be a lawyer, or I could start my own business just like my parents did. That didn't happen. And then people would ask me, like, what are you going to be when you grow up? I've always told everyone that when I grow up, I'm going to live in America and marry an African American.
And how is that going? The one is done. The second one, African. Okay, we're going to sip our coffee. That'll be for another day.
The Lord says, be still, my child. And no, I am the Lord.
What patience is the key. And it usually pays off. Believe me, it does. And what I've noticed with going our way to find our people out there in the channel, you always find people that are not suited for you. But if you wait.
Yes, and I did that. I did that already. Right? When I'm 9 years old, when I was in my 20s, I don't know, 25 maybe, I was proposed to and I said yes. And I remember my friend used to ask me, so what happens to this African-American portion? Because he's not African-American. I was like, I don't know. I am not psychic, whichever the way the Lord's lead. He brought him, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, probably I should have waited. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Wow. So what motivates Noku? What motivates you? What makes you get up in the morning and push. You're young, Noku, and a lot of people realize their dreams later. Like, what makes you get up and go?
Yeah. Well, for me, I would say it's knowing my calling, right? So every time I sing, I feel like I'm within what God brought me here to do, which is to worship Him. So if I could help in any way, whether small or big, helping people to see God's love and seek after Him, then that's what I'm going to do. Whichever way I can help, whether small or big, I was called to do this. So that's what motivates me. It's also just showing God's love here on earth. People lose hope over small things. Some people lose hope over big things. Granted, there's no such thing as a small thing when someone is going through it. If I could help in any way.
So, I always say here the radio is all about love. Love is everything. Love is our master. Now, yes. What is God's love in your way? What encompasses God's love? Because there's so many religion, and I guess people would think, I don't want to go too much into religion. Just a nutshell. What would be God's love with your eyes?
For me, the mercy that He shows us every day. Just mercy, abundant mercy and abundant grace. Because just yesterday, actually, I realized that there is actually nothing that I'm about and nothing that I do that actually would make Him love me, right? And the thought that He just loves me.
Say that again.
Like, there is nothing about me, about who I am today or previously, that justifies the amount of love He gives me. There is nothing I can do for Him to love me as much as He does already. And there's nothing, there is like really nothing. He just does. And this came about because actually...
I was about to ask you, how do you come about to that conclusion?
Yeah, so just yesterday, funny enough, because, I've always been a firm believer that the devil knows the Bible just as much as Jesus knew the Bible. That's how he could come and try and tempt Him, right? So the devil probably knows the Bible more than I do, right? So then it hit me that the only way that I can talk to God, that the devil won't know what's in my mind and what's in my heart, is if I talk to God within me, within my spirit, right? If you are a tongue speaker, then you use tongues. If you're not, and you use layman's terms like English or any other language, because he knows just the same languages the devil does, right? So I was like, if I say it in my heart, only God knows my thoughts before I even think it. Only God knows what I'm about to do before I even do it. The devil doesn't. So the only way to trick him, that's what people call meditation, right? Whatever it is, you're saying it within yourself. But who knows you're going to say it? Who knows what you're about to say? Only God. The devil only knows your struggles after you've said it. But he can't read your mind.
But when you say there's a verse, I'm not very good with verses. There's a verse in the Bible that says that, I think it's Romans or something like that, that, we must confess with our mouth.
Yes.
Something like that. It doesn't mean you have to speak it out.
So you have to, yes. So you have to confess it with your mouth, right? Yes. But some things, right? There are things that I call cycles. Some things that you just somehow keep going back and forth on. The only person that's tempting you on that is who? The devil. When you decide you're not going to do something and you're like, today's not the day. Unless your faith is strong enough that as he comes to try and tempt you, like he did Jesus, it doesn't mean he's not going to come, right? If your faith is strong enough, he can tempt you as many times as he wants, but nothing's going to happen. But if you're not strong enough in your faith, say it within you because God has heard it. And there are some things that you're strong in, right? That you have to speak out so that you can help save another person. But when you're going through your own battles, when Jesus, when God told, what's his name? Joshua, right? That they need to go around the building 7 times.
The wall.
The wall. 7 times. He gave each person their own purpose. He didn't say all of them need to say something around 7 times, around the wall 7 times. Some people were supposed to just blow the trumpet. Some people were there to just march, right? So that also shows the different seasons. And whatever God has placed in your heart and in your life, that's what you're meant to do. That's something that when you do, no man can take away. No man.
Wow. And someone also, I had someone say that the talents that God gives you, like the gifts that God gives you, it's Him that gives. So He's going to give you the provision for it.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't ask for people to validate our talent.
Exactly.
It's already been validated by God.
Yeah. And that talent is the only thing that you could do for free. Whether you get paid for it or not, your heart is joyful and full regardless. Because that's your calling. That's the only thing you won't charge for.
I never thought about that.
Because, I mean, if they pay you, you'll take the money, right? Or you might try to go, no. But if they said, hey, come and do this, and it's something you love to do, okay, what time, as long as it aligns with everything that I have going on, and it doesn't go against my morals, doesn't go against what I believe, let's do it. Oh, Noku, I can't pay you. It's okay. Because that fulfillment was already got. You already got your payment from God because you already fulfilled about what you're doing.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Makes sense.
I'm telling you. So I was talking about this God's love thing. So just yesterday, someone said to me, someone I recently met that will be on for another conversation.
Yes.
He says to me, I was thinking that we are all conditioned different ways. He said, I was trying to figure out if Noku was to ask me why I love her, why would I say? And he said, I don't have any reasons. And I thought, oh yeah, because we just met. So obviously you cannot find any. He said, no, I don't love you for any reason. I just love you. And right at that moment when he said that, my brain and my spirit went to just like God loves you. He doesn't need anything. It's not because of your smile. Because technically he created the smile. It doesn't matter. It's not because of your eyes. You know what I mean? It's not because of the way you walk. He just loves you. You sin every day. You don't please him every second or every other second. But guess what? He doesn't go, oh, so now I love you a little less. Because you just tripped over there. Didn't you just say you're not going to trip over that again? And you just did. Doesn't matter. So that, when he said that to me, and I thought, and I'm sure people have heard this before. When I told my sister, because I was excited, my sister was like, oh, I think that's a line from a movie. He's like, you've been played, sis. I was like, no, listen. I said, listen, there is nothing new under the sun. But God knew I needed to hear that at that moment.
It hits the right place.
So that it hits the way it did. So I understand the questions I've had about God, right? About him. I'm like, you can't possibly love me the same today because of what I said yesterday or because of what I did yesterday.
Well, I haven't prayed for 6 months. I haven't talked to you for a whole year.
Yeah.
I never even contacted you. But he continues to love. That's a great message.
Yes, he continues to love. That's why I was like, when God takes something away, we tend to go, how could you do this to me? And then we get mad and shut him out. That's not the time you shut him out. Actually, you ask for clarity as your heart bleeds.
Okay, look at this today. People are losing a lot of family. I just lost a very, very close friend as well. And people tend to blame God, like, oh, why all of this? Why are we all dying? If there's a God, why are we dying? So how do you have an answer?
It's like, let's see, God, what do you say? I've lost people too during this pandemic, and the only way I can tell you is that people die every day for other sicknesses. COVID is not the only one that people are dying, right? There are people in hospital that don't have COVID and they're dying of cancer and heart attacks and everything else. So sickness has been there. There are people that get COVID and they get healed. And then there are people that get COVID and unfortunately they go home, right? So the way I've been looking at it is that if it's not your time, you're not going to die. It doesn't matter what it is. You can be exposed to it. If I was telling my friend, I said, look at it this way. It hurts, But that person, they run their race. That's the only way you get out of this world, unless you do it with your own hand, right? But if you don't do it by your hand, and then even if you do it by your own hand, it doesn't surprise God, because God knew that was going to happen, right?
He's always destined that you do that. Yeah.
So with COVID, I feel like those people had run their races. The message and the work that they were supposed to do here on earth is complete. God doesn't get caught by surprise. So
But
whether
someone would tend to differ and say that there are people who say this premature death that is caused by the enemy, the devil. That you're not actually supposed to have died because of spiritual satanic attacks or whatever curses and stuff. Do you think that could be also a reason people could die and it's not supposed to be dying at that time?
No, you can't die unless it's your time to die.
Wow.
So, because when we say premature death, do we know when they were supposed to die? Right? Like, we don't know. I don't know when for me. I don't know for anyone. So, within that storm, right, there is something that God wants us to see. And, someone else could be listening to me and go, oh, she must not have lost someone. And, that was dear to her in her life. I lost my dad at 9. And I'll tell you that it took me another 9 years to realize he wasn't coming back. Even to this day, when I think about it, right, it's like 19 years later, I still break down because I feel like I needed him. And I feel like, God, why my dad? Why not someone else? But then why that person? Because that person is loved by other people too. So at the end, if we just look at it as you ran your race and now you're done. That's the only way. Look at Job in the Bible, right? All these temptations happened to him.
But he didn't die.
But he didn't die. So all these things, 1 Corinthians 10:13 says that I will never give you more than you can bear. I will always give you a way out. So in everything, there is a way out. Wow. Jesus was fasting for 40 days. I mean, when the devil tempted him with bread, it would take someone with strong faith not to take the bread and eat it. Some of us will be like, you know what, God, we've given you 30 days already or 35 days. What is just one piece? You know what I mean? My stomach is just a little bit, which is where I talk about the strong faith and the ones that are not so strong in faith. And it doesn't mean when you're not so strong in faith, you can never get stronger. You can. You just have to want to. And that's what I'm striving for myself. I say all these things and I know them, but guess what? I still fall too.
Yeah, we're not perfect, right?
Exactly. So with that, last November, I got diagnosed with COVID. And today, here I am, I'm talking to you, right? Yes, I went to test. I didn't have the major symptoms. I didn't have like the lung thing or anything, right? It was more smell and taste, but I was fine. You couldn't tell. I was fine. So all I told myself was, if this is the way, this is the way. But if it's not your time, this is not going to do anything. 7 days later, I was fine.
Some people get it in 2 days and they're gone within.
Yes. And some people don't know, they just fall down. And some people, it happens and then they get stroke. I had a friend that got COVID so bad that it attacked the same thing, the brain, smell, scent, taste, and
wow.
I can't remember something. And his lungs a little bit. And he got a stroke from it. So when you get stroke, then you got to be taught again how to talk and how to walk. So you have to do all those things back up. But when you see him today, you'll never think that he was the same person who had a stroke. And I feel like there's a message in all of our lives. It's just that we want bigger miracles. We don't want these smaller ones. Because I want to say, let me tell you what has happened in my life. Woo! We like those. The ones that just like, I tripped and I'm walking again. We're like, oh, well. Were you blind though? And did he cause you to see? We want those. We don't care about, I didn't know where I was going to get $1 and now I do. Wow.
You said something very beautiful. It's still ringing to me, that, when you have a talent, you won't even get, you can do it without getting paid.
Yeah.
That was really powerful for me, it really reflects a lot of people who have talents maybe holding on to your talent and thinking that you're waiting to get paid first before you can go out there. Do you think a lot of people would do that?
Like go out without getting paid?
Hold off to
Yes.
express themselves because you're thinking, I need to be paid. I can't just I can't just sing on, on the streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there are people like that, just like with any type of training, right? There are people that when they know something and they see you going through something they've gone through and they have insider information and they don't tell you because they feel like you're supposed to struggle like they did. Right? Case in point, when we take finances, right? You take finances and we all come from somewhere. Our parents were taught what they were taught by their parents and their parents were taught something. So coming from an African background, somehow I feel like Africans, we believe that you have to first struggle. Anything that is achieved without struggle is not worth it. You have to persevere and struggle somehow, right? That's how we believe and that's how we feel. So when I teach people about their finances and I teach them about leaving a legacy behind for their family, I said, would you like, though, to leave your children in a better place? Or should they also struggle? That's like having insider information and not telling the person. And they're like, so how do I then make sure that they don't struggle? I said, you create wealth now. You do it. You leave them wealth and teach them how to create wealth. Then guess what you've done? Not only are you going to leave them a legacy, now they're going to leave their children's children a legacy. So their struggle will never be the same as yours.
And you're right. That's a problem we African people or Black people or the Black race, we black behind in living legacies.
Yes.
A lot of times people die and they die with whatever, and that's it. They never had anything. And it has continued for several times. And I wonder what is the problem? Is it because we're not financially, like you're teaching finance, you say, do you think it's because financially we are not taught or we just don't have the resources to continue that? Let's say if I'm getting paid something like, very less, and I have to put away, $50 every month, to put away for my, let it accumulate whatever. But suddenly something happens, I have an accident or a funeral happens there. I go and cash out all that money and then I use it. So I think that is where our problem is, because the financial system is not going to back me up and say, okay, so that I can leave that money. So you can see some of it, it's more a systematic racism that makes, our people not be able to advance as fast because there's not much support when it comes to financial services.
So I agree. And then there's also like a side to it, right? The other side is there are people that know the information and they will not share it, right? And then there are people that will share it and they will share it for free and you still don't do it. Right? So for instance, I could talk to some of my friends and I tell them, hey, I think this is what you should do and you should put your money here. I'm not only saying that because I'm also doing it. And they say no. They don't say no to the product. They're saying no because it's me. Like, how do you know more than me? We should be at the same level. Now, you take another race, right? Come and tell them the same thing I told them. And I'll tell you, I have a friend that said to me, only if a white person wearing a suit and a briefcase told me that, I would do it. You come to me the way you are. It's a friend. It's not a stranger, right? Somebody who probably I've known for like 10 years and they've known me for 10 years. So if there's no black on black support, and I'm sorry to take it there, but this is where everything goes, right? It's either I was raised to share what I have with other people, or I was raised to share it and now I don't want to, because within that, I still have my own personality, right? I always tell people, like, for me, I will give and I'll give and I'll give because I've been taught by my parents that you can never receive anything with clenched fists.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to give. Sometimes your hands could already be full. The only way you can take more is to give some off, shed some load to receive more load. But apart from that, you can't think that you're supposed to just get, but you're not supposed to give anything.
That is
There is information out there. We also don't really want to read about it. Our parents didn't know, right? Like My mom, her and my dad started businesses back in South Africa, but I wasn't curious enough to go, so what does it take? What does it look like? All I know is that she was somewhat a slave to what she was doing, because then she had to sit there and guide her money. And so it doesn't give you that sense that, oh, one day I want to start a business too, because you're thinking, I'm going to start this business. Now I got to guard my money and everything from these people so they don't steal it. Right. So then with that, you're like, well, I want to do something else. I don't want to own anything. But maybe if they'd set us down like our counterparts, where they teach their children when they're young, right? So I cannot blame it on them that they didn't sit me down, because their parents never set them down too. So then so forth and so forth. That's how it continues. So now it's up to us to change the narrative, right? This thing about, oh, high blood pressure is in my family. You can actually stop it by changing what you eat.
Yes. Wow.
Right? So that when you win that war or that battle, you teach it to your child. This is how you stop this. Not that my mom has osteoarthritis. Now I have to feel like, well, then if I get it, that's, it was supposed to be. Like, no. I don't want it.
Wow. So, Noku, I can see you're very talented. You do some financial, you're like really, so what is another talent that you have that you probably haven't told us, that you're hiding somewhere?
Yeah.
Or you never used at all, but you have this talent, but you just never used it.
So I think the talent that I have that a lot of people don't know about, even my family doesn't know that I have this talent. I don't know, maybe they do. Is that I can actually move my ears at different times, like at separate times. I can, that's a talent to me. I can make my ears move at different times. And, it's just unfortunate that there are no more circuses anymore that I could sign up for. But I probably need a magnifying glass to see my ear move. Look,
wow. Yeah, you're right.
And so I can you probably won't see them now. You'd have to be looking at me to see them do this. I think that's a skill. That's another thing. If all of this doesn't work out,
I can't even move my ear.
Yeah, like when you start like going. I'm like, when all else fails, I still have another talent. That's why I'm like, God cannot leave you undone and incomplete. He gives you every single thing you need to make it. I could sit at some corner and probably tell people, look, can you do this? Move your ears at different times.
So who has been your most inspirational, as somebody who has inspired you in your life?
Mine would have to be my grandmother, my grandmother, and my mom.
Is that her behind you there?
Yes, this side. That's a picture of her right there. She passed away, I think, 3 years ago. And she has been such a rock. Like, if I don't remember anything about her, the most important thing I remember is that she gave of herself.
Wow.
Not only to us, but to like village children. She used to be a teacher, right? So she loved all kids. She gave everything, I remember talking at her funeral, and I said, they always say the graveyard is full of talent and dreams that were never realized. I said, for my grandmother, she left empty.
Wow.
She had given everything of herself, everything. She would call us growing up. Before we go to bed, we knew we have to come around her bed. She would read the Bible for us. We would sing and we would pray every night. And I said, one day when I have a family, that's what we're going to have to do. Because back then I didn't see what she was doing, but she was imparting prayer into us. She was making sure that we know who God is. But it still doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything with your hands. You shouldn't give up your time and your knowledge. Because if I'm good at something, and I tell you how to get there too, and you get good at it, you're not going to be better than me.
Wow.
Your strength in that is going to be different. My strength in whatever that is going to be different.
Say that again. Can you repeat that again?
So if I'm good at something,
mm-hmm.
and then I teach it to you, it doesn't mean you're going to be better than me. You're just going to be stronger at that at a different angle than that I'm stronger at. So it's not the same. If I teach you how to hold a note, right, and you do that note, you're not doing the note better than me, because our voices are not the same. Who we're supposed to touch is not the same people. That's why today there's all these genres of music. There are some I don't listen to, but guess what? Those people have their people. So when God put anything that He put within us, your voice, my voice is different from yours. I can hear another person sing and go, wow, they're really good. And I feel intimidated, right? Or maybe I get a little bit envious, like, how come that's not me? But my voice, God put it there to touch other people, not the whole world. It won't. Because not everyone is going to like what I sing, doesn't like the way my voice sounds. I know I have people too that I'm just like, why do you sing like that? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you? But those people have their own people.
This is you teaching me today. Radio, because you wonder, like, okay, who's listening? There are people who listen, so there will be people for this station. There will be people who love this what we're doing,
Yeah.
and there are people that don't want to see
That
that.
don't. Yeah. That when they hear your voice talk through that mic, they're like, why does she talk like that? Why does she talk like that? But guess what? It's in you, so you're not going to stop because somebody doesn't like your tone. Because there are other people that do. And there's a whole lot other people that do. A lot. Think of a bread aisle, right? You go into a supermarket. There's all these types of bread. You go straight to the one you like, and you take that one and you buy it. The question you ask is, so since you didn't buy the one next door, who's going to buy it? Somebody buys it. That's why every single time you go, there's still more fresh bread and more fresh bread coming in. So there's always demand for what you have. There will always be. It might not be the people that you think you should get support from, but there is a demand for what you do.
Wow, this is so beautiful. This is for me. I think this is seriously for me. I think it comforts me quite a lot just talking to you. I'm just gonna get teary because you go through a lot and you're wondering, does it even affect anybody? Does anybody even hear what's going on? The idea that's embedded in here, But what you just said to me is like, it doesn't matter. Just do what you do.
Just do it.
Listens. There will be who is meant to will be. I want us to take a short break and then we're going to come back. Wow, this was awesome. I'm telling you. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into Life Online Radio Station. If you've just joined us, I am with Noku, Dlamini, and she's just blowing me away. I'm having tears. That's why I need to take a break because she's just hitting the right spot. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go away. We'll be back again. Just hold on. And the next song that's going to be coming up is Why You Envy Me. And this is by Noku Dlamini. And we will then go into her music now and ask, what does that Why You Envy Me mean? Exactly. Thank you. And just hold on. Okay, we're still live here. What I'm going to do is get out from here. Okay, Noko, we're gonna leave the studio. Leave the studio for me and then come back again.
Okay.
Or just leave the studio and then I'm gonna talk to you on another channel for a few minutes.
All right.
We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Just hold on. Okay, we are back, and but we're not back on live yet. Your song
Okay.
is playing in the background there, so we are on this one here. Okay, I feel a little better now. So let's see. We're going to ask you a few questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to Life Online Radio Station. We're just going to go back into our stream and then get all going. I didn't get a chance to post on my Facebook, but it's okay. Let's go back in. This one is called I'm Still Here. Okay. This one is called I'm Still Here. Welcome back to Life Online Radio Station, Life's best online radio. This is your Captain Teri P, and I'm with Noku Dlamini on a one-on-one, and we are having an amazing talk. You know, with our conversations is that we never plan. It just flows and it goes according to the way it's supposed to, right? Noku, thank you so much for joining me here once again on Life Online Radio Station.
Thank you for having me. Awesome.
Now, we just listened to a beautiful song there. Before, with the one that we are talking about, the one you released, the one that just plays, it's called I'm Still Here. When did you do that?
So I released it last year. And yeah, it's dedicated to everything that I've been through, right? Like relationship-wise, work-wise. When I decided to write it, I understood that we're all coming from different backgrounds and we've gone through different things. And it's just to say, you know, some people intentionally do things to you that if you thought you were going to kill me or if you thought that was going to break me, I'm still here. Whether you gave me a promise that you didn't keep, maybe I gave you a promise that I didn't keep, right? Yeah. The song still goes for you too. That means you're still here. It's not going to kill you. And the song that just came to mind is like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's, you know what I mean? Like, just don't give in to whatever that is. It will never kill you. Again, he will never give you more than you can bear. And every time I feel like whatever it is that I'm going through is about to, I feel like it's about to carry me, I'm like, Lord, your word says you will never give me more than I can bear. So whenever that's coming at me, it's coming at me because I can handle it. What happens to you doesn't happen to me because God knows I cannot handle that. What happens to me doesn't happen to you. It might be similar, but not at the exact same way because our strengths are different.
Is that why now we go, it takes me back right to your song, Why You Envy Me.
Yeah.
And can you tell me more about that song exactly? What is going on in that song? Because people do feel a certain way about other people in so many ways.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we have our best parts to us, and then we have our not so good parts to us, right? So that makes us human. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to channel the bad more, right? So for me, that song says for anyone, you know, I saw envy probably more from people that I called friends, which it threw me off because I just thought, okay, so I could like your jacket and wish that your jacket was mine. But it's another level of envy if I could watch you walk into a ditch, but yet I'm a friend, right? So as your friend, I shouldn't be able to do that. When I see you walking towards a ditch, I'm supposed to say, hey, there's a ditch. Now, if you walk to it anyway, that's a different story, right? But at least I did my part to try to warn you there was something there. So envy in the office space, right? For me, I think, okay, hey, you know, I'm an immigrant, didn't always have citizenship in this country and all these things, but you'll still find people that have more than you still be envious of you.
Wow.
And that did not make sense to me. So I'm like, okay, so let me tell you how I get what I get and what I got. I always, go back to God's word, and I always go to him and say, hey, you said, right, that you will never forsake me. Never seen the righteous begging for bread, nor their seed begging for bread. I'm a seed of one person or other people in my life that were righteous, not perfect. They wanted to be Christ-like, just like we all strive to be, but we are still human to some extent, right? That perfection is not ours alone, but me and God's word together, we are perfect.
Wow. Why you envy me, it's do you think people feel a little bit away as well, in a way, or on that song? Or does it talk to a person personally?
Yeah, I think it's meant to talk to you personally. Like listen, if I'm envious of you, there is someone else that's envious of me, right? So the circle continues. I'm not like talking to one specific person. Even if a name could come to mind right now when I think of who's envious of me, there is someone else that's envious of them. Because why? We're humans. It's what you do after that feeling comes, I feel. Right. So for me, if I feel envious, I'm gonna be like, oh man, I like your top. Can you give it to me? Right. And then you say no, I'm like, please, come on, right? Or I could say that top is beautiful on you. Can I still have it? Because what I just did is I still complimented you.
Wow.
You giving me the top or not is another story, right? You could give it to me, you could be like, nah, girl. So that's how I feel like you can curb bad energy with positive energy. I don't sing about envy because I'm never envious. Listen, there's a lot of things that I wish that I didn't have to feel, certain emotions I wish that I didn't have to feel, but I feel them because I'm also human.
Wow, that is so interesting. And isn't there a verse in the Bible that talks about that, or is it one of the 10 Commandments that you should not cover something like that?
Wife or their husband or their cows or their maid or whatever. Because why would he say that? Because I've given you, each person, enough for them to do what they're supposed to do to succeed.
Wow.
We're all worth something. I mean, the Bible also says we're all made in his image. So you'd think he would make a stronger one and a weaker one. He gives us all tools to do what we're supposed to do. And that's why when people say life is too short, and I'm like, no, it's not. Life is long enough for you to fulfill your purpose. And after you fulfill that purpose, you go home. Your body goes back to dust, but your spirit and your soul leaves your body.
Tell me, so this song, did you write it yourself, or was it? Did you get it from somewhere, or how did it come about?
I wrote it. Yeah, I wrote it. So how it happened is that I went to South Africa and I wanted to work with a South African producer, right? And so one of my good friends pointed me to them. And so I told him, I don't really have anything in mind, just put a beat together. Let me see what I can do. So as I was driving to them, they said, hey, your beat is ready. And I said, how could you have my beat ready and I'm not there? I want to be able to tell you how I want it. They said, no, if you don't like it, we'll do another one. Like, it's fine. When I got there and I thought, oh, I like this beat. And as it was playing, listening to it, the lyrics just started coming.
Wow.
On the spot. We were already in studio, so I stood up and we laid the vocals. 30 minutes later, the whole song was done. 30 minutes later, the song was done. A friend of mine that I went there with, he said, man, and you think people take months and months to do a song? And I said, no, there are songs like that, right? That you have to be in the right mind state or frame for you to complete the song, for you to feel. There's some that are very emotional. So you do have a song and you cry and you cannot go anymore. And the song that did that for me is, what is that? There's a song I wrote for my dad. I remember. It's called I Remember, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that song for me was hard for me to sing, right? So when it comes to a point where I'm talking about hearing my mother cry, I go back to 9-year-old Noku because I actually heard her cry, right? But my mom is not a crier, and I think probably that was the last time she ever cried. The last time ever that I've seen her, right? Maybe she cries on her own somewhere to God, but people, things in life change people, you know? So I believe this collaboration with these producers was meant to be, because when things are supposed to be, there'll be no confusion.
Wow.
Anything that brings confusion, I walk away. I mean, if you met my friends,
You're
I'd be
not
like,
showing what's going on. People are not
yeah,
being
yeah,
clear. Like you're also not sure what's going on.
then you leave it. Nope. And for me, it goes for everything. If a job brings confusion, I always say, Lord, move me to another job, or move them. Whoever gives me a headache at that job, give them another job, not get them fired. Just move them somewhere else so I don't have to deal with it.
Ah.
You know, because anything, as long as you talk to your father, it's just like talking to your dad. Anything he will do for you. Why wouldn't he? Why
Wow.
should you suffer and other people don't?
So your collaborations with other people, how many have you done so far? Or this was like the first one? Are you looking into going further?
So this one was my first time working with a South African producer, right? So wrote all the lyrics, did all the back vocals and melodies and all of the stuff in it. My first album was the same thing, because unless you have people that volunteer to help you sing background, I always just assume that they're gonna want me to pay them, and I don't have money to pay them. So I'm like, if I can do it, let me try and do it, right? If I can, then yes, I'll have somebody come and help me. So that's the first one with a South African producer. And then the Sindisi, where that came before that one, that one was actually with a Kenyan producer here in Houston.
Wow.
We wanted to do a South African sound, and we said, let's see. That one too did not take no time. He did the beats in studio. I walked away. The next day I was ready to lay the vocals, and the whole song was done. Because I just feel like if it's there, it's there. If God's going to put it together, God's going to put it together, and it needs to just happen.
That's incredible.
Right? He promises to take care of us. He doesn't promise fame.
He doesn't promise fame.
Fame. He promises that he'll take care of me and that he's predestined me, right? He knows who I am, and I should know who he is all the time. But everything that I need to succeed is there.
So, Noku, your music, who is it for, basically? Is it for everybody, or is it for South Africans? Or if someone doesn't understand what you're saying, I know we can listen to different songs and we don't know the languages and all that, and you still love the beat.
Yes.
So, can you tell us, especially with the different songs, who is it for mostly?
Yeah. So my first album, if you listen to that, I was still trying to find me, right? Still trying to find what's my sound, what do I want to put out there. But one thing I've always known, my conviction has always been the messaging, right? My lyrics, they can never be lyrics that tear people down, right? Now, it doesn't mean that it will not provoke something within you, or it doesn't mean that it won't activate something from you. Because I always say, when people go, you made me do that, nobody makes you do anything, right? It provoked something within you. And so when that was there, it was time for you then to take care of whatever that is, like deal with that spirit or whatever that feeling it is. Not that I'm making you. I didn't. All I did was sing. Because I didn't have your name in mind when I was singing, right? I just sang the song. But if it talks to you, there's something you got to do with that. There's something in there that you have to deal with. So for me, it was for everyone, right? Some people say, oh, no, your beats were too white on your first album. To know what that meant. I said, well, maybe because of my British background, right? South Africa used to be under British rule. So, hey, I just think of everyone. That
the beat is different from the normal beats. This is like your house beat, your pop beat. It's not your usual gospel beats.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one I was thinking of home. I wanted to do something that is South African, which is the first one. I believe they said it's a gom feel. There's a music genre in South Africa called gom, so that's what Ngisinsiwe is. And then for Why You Envy Me, we went deep house because we were really thinking amapiano, which is another South African genre. But then I figured South Africans love house music, Chicagoans love house music, right? New York, they love house music. Ibiza, Greece, where I would love to go to, they love house music. You know, so you can never go wrong. But the bottom line for me on my foundation is it has to build.
So would you say people would play it in a club? Would
Yes.
In a club?
Yes, and I've heard them play it in a club.
So when people are dancing, you're letting them hear about Jesus in there.
Yeah.
The devil is there too, you know.
Hey, I don't know about other countries, but in South Africa, and I'm sure the whole continent of Africa does this. When people are sitting down, at least I've seen it with my family members, the elder portion of them, which now my generation has adopted that, is that people start drinking and they start drinking when they get tipsy to inebriated, then they want Jesus and they want, gospel songs, worship songs, and all of this stuff. So I was like, if Jesus was to come back, right? If he was to come back right now, Noku, where do you think he would go? And the answer for me was, he's not going to church. He's going to save people that don't know him. He's not going to church because all y'all don't need saving. And there's enough artists and actors and actresses in church, right? He wants the ones that are just real and say, you know what? I'm lost and I'm enjoying being lost, because the one who says they know Christ, they still struggle maybe worse than me, right? So the moment I realized that he's not going to go to church, at least that's my conviction. We all can feel like when he comes back, he's going to go somewhere with the Christians and go to church. I don't think he is. I think he's going to continue to spread the message, which is what we're supposed to do. So why not take gospel or Christian music inside the club? There's still people. That's a hospital for people too. It's a hospital for hurt people or hurting people, right? Church is people that have realized they are hurt and they come to the altar for healing. Whether after we prayed about it, we still take it back and walk out with it, that's fine. God knew we were going to do that. But then the next time you come back and lay it on the altar again. The ones that don't want Jesus, not don't know, because there's people that know of him, but they don't want him, right? Because we've done such a poor job of showing who he is. Those are the people that we shouldn't then thumb our noses because we think we're better. And all of this, I haven't always believed this and felt this way. I just started feeling this way when I knew, like, he says, I love you all the same. Right? Think of Osama bin Laden. This one, always, my friends are like, no, he can't be in heaven. I'm like, but how do you know? Because remember, yes, he did all those things that we know of him doing, right? But that last moment, do you know what he could have said to God? We don't know. So we can then assume that he's in heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can't assume anything for anyone who lives.
Exactly.
They have their own time, their own judgment, their own whatever.
Because there's no syllabus, right? There's no, you got to do a 12-month step. Then that means you're going to heaven. You could have been this awesome Christian all your life. And then probably before the time you died, you did some crazy things. Then we can't assume you're going to heaven. You could go to hell.
So you think heaven is a place, a certain physical place, or what do you think it is?
So I feel like heaven is heaven, right?
I know I caught you off guard right there. Sorry.
See, I had to sit back. I'm like, shots fired. So I feel like heaven is a place, right? Growing up, I've been taught heaven is up there, hell is down there, right?
Above, so below.
Yeah. So then I would go to, is the sky really blue? Right? Or is it blue because I was taught that color is blue?
Or
and I've been taught grass is green. Is it green? Right? But I believe that it's green because I was taught that it's green. So I've been taught that that's heaven and I've been taught that that's hell. So now when I read my Bible, I believe everything that's in the Bible, right? The Bible says there is a heaven, and the Bible says there is Hades, the gates of Hades, right? So then, location-wise, I don't know, right? But because up there it's beautiful, birds fly in the sky, you know what I mean? We're going to say that's heaven, and down here it's hell. But then are we in hell because we're down here? No, I'm kidding.
Sometimes it seems like it. It seems like we have both heaven and hell right here on earth.
Yeah.
Like for
And we
me,
feel like we're in hell because we feel like things that are happening are things that shouldn't be happening to me. But why? If they shouldn't happen to you, then who should they happen to?
sometimes I think heaven is right here on earth, as in it's not in the sky, or maybe there is another dimension where we transcend to
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
in a conscious level. Everything is right here on earth, because I don't think there's any planet that out there in space that is conducive for living. Earth was the only planet made. That's now my own understanding after looking, that God
Yeah.
created Earth as the only planet and created the people that are in there. So there's nothing out there. People can go to space and search whatever they want. For me, I've concluded this is the only living organism that can have you and me to live.
Yeah.
And that's the only one we've got. And earth and hell and heaven are all in here. But we transcend in levels of consciousness. Just because we don't see when somebody, where people die, they go to, doesn't mean that they're not here. You know, it doesn't mean they're not with us, just that we are not in that conscious level to be able to see and feel them. But we can feel them sometimes, that the spirit is here. But we don't understand how we feel that spirit, but we know.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
So that is an interesting way of saying it, right? But then it would go against the scripture that says then we rapture, right? Revelation says we're going to rapture. So if we're rapturing, where are we going? Like, are we just skipping on earth?
No, we're actually going to another realm. I feel we can go into another realm of dimension that is probably higher than this third dimension. Because this third dimension you can touch and see and see over. But the next one we go to probably be a fourth dimension where we can see now with the spirit. That's why we need to prepare here.
Yeah.
For love, the jobs, the purposes that we prepare takes us to the next dimension where we have to have fully understood love. If you can't be there if you don't know love, so that's why you reincarnate over and you keep coming to earth into this dimension until we can transcend to meet our Father, our home. But we remain somewhere. That's my own thinking.
Well, reincarnation, no.
Anyway.
Reincarnation, no. But I feel like heaven, heaven is heaven. Heaven is a place, right? There are some things, like when we read the Bible, that God only reveals to you, right? For me to say, someone can say, no, I don't think that's biblical. When I say, for instance, that I can say within myself and talk to God, not outward, right? I could just go, thank you, Lord, without moving my lips. But God has heard me. The only person who hasn't heard me is the devil. I believe that only until he hears what your struggle is, he doesn't know what it is. When I wake up in the morning, he has no idea what I'm going to do. But he knows what he's going to do is keep tempting me with things of old, because he knows that's still a weakness of mine. But if you correct that, he doesn't know what you're going to do. Only God knows when you wake up what you're going to do. Actually, only God knows that you are going to wake up. The devil doesn't know. He can tempt you and bring all these things. So I feel like sometimes, like, the location of where heaven is and the location of where hell is, those are the things that probably we shouldn't focus on. But focus on being better Christians. Focus on being better people. Focus on what is that thing that he put within me? What is it that I have to repent from? What is it who am I supposed to go ask for forgiveness from?
So when we talk about, I'm taking you in a different way. Say someone is not a Christian, someone is of a different religion. But you don't want to impose your religion on anyone, right? but you want to send the true message, because the message is not about religion. For me, I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in religion at all. I believe in that oneness, me being able to have a connection and a relationship with my creator.
Yes.
Right. So now when someone is not of any or of a different religion, how do you spread a message with your songs without having somebody to back up and say, I don't listen to you because you're talking about things that are not part of me? You know, I'm not a Christian, so why should I listen to your songs?
So
Is your songs only for Christians, or is it to get everybody?
my songs, I don't believe they're only for Christians, and that's why I touch in different things, right? I don't do straight up, which not that I don't do it, but I'm going to do it. But most of the songs now, they're not strictly just worship songs or strictly just praise songs. There's enough beats in there that even if you don't like how many times I say Jesus on the song, it will still make your body twitch. Because if the type of music you like, you're still going to move to it. You might not like the lyrics, right? If you don't understand the lyrics, sometimes you don't understand the language, you can enjoy the song without understanding what they're saying. Now, I always ask my friends, are they cursing? Because as long as you're not cursing, I'm good.
Yes.
Is the music degrading women? Is the music, if it's not doing those things, then I'm fine. I'll listen to it and bob my head. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know the language, but it's that. So if you are not a Christian, per se, right? I feel like when God made us, he put his stamp on our hearts, all of us. Because remember, not that he didn't know that we're going to reject him, not that he didn't know that we're going to mess up what he created, right? And what I mean is, Jesus came as this, or the Bible says this, and we could go in circles about, well, the Bible could not be right, the Bible could not. What are you convicted about? What convicts you, right? If you're going to reject Jesus, then I can still present Jesus within me by showing you his love through me, right? If I show mercy and I show love and I show grace, it doesn't matter whether it's Buddha or it's Jesus or whoever you worship, you will find yourself gravitating towards me. Beautiful. So my thing, if I could just touch just one little crumb, right? If it's the 1,000 people that listen to my music on a daily basis or monthly, and that's it, because you never promised me fame. But I know that whatever is that I put out there, somebody has to hear it. We don't just talk for free, like just for nothing. And it's just, somebody will always respond. It might not be 1,000 people, right? You post something on social media and you're like, I know that was a powerful word. That picture was awesome. And you get 4 likes. And you're like, oh, I thought this was was man, and it gets 4 likes. The one that you just went like this in a picture and you get 150 likes and you're like, wait, what? Because
you know what I find
to see that
social media, it's a psychological thing. I think people have put themselves into, the likes is very psychological. They want to determine the worth of what you post.
Yes.
Is determined by the amount of likes, which is total nonsense, and it's totally wrong. But people do it, and also people, why you envy me is also can come into it as well. That it's Noku who posts such a profound thing. Why should I give her the satisfaction of my life?
I'm liking it.
And then I'm gonna make increase her number while you envy me. Those are another things that come into play, right? And then I'm like, I don't want her to see that I'm watching her. I don't want her to see me that I even saw her picture. I even saw her post, but they read all through it, went through that, and just doesn't like it. And now the problem now with our youth is that now they take this as it means. That's the value of what it means, what I just posted. So now nobody posted that. Then I take a picture with my boobs out, and then I get 400 likes. So what are you saying? Like, so you see me when I do this, but when I put a valuable message, you don't like it. But when I put a nonsense picture,
then you do. But you know the best part though about Instagram? I don't know if Facebook, I think Facebook does that. Like if you have an artist page or a business page, Instagram will say 4 likes, 131 views.
Yes.
So, but you still viewed it.
Yes.
Don't respond, it's fine. But you viewed it. So the message will continue. Whatever I said, you saw it.
You just watch, but you don't want it. They actually saw it, which is, which
There's
is
great
nice.
ratio. You clicked on it, you saw it, right? And I always say when you are in, let's say in a church service, and they talk about a scripture, you had a conversation with your friend, let's say yesterday, and y'all argued about something, and you get convicted about this message. Then you text your friend and you see, I was right. Look at the scripture. But guess what? God meant for you to hear that. That's why you were the one in the service, not your friend. So not that you listen for other people, you listen for yourself. When you, if anything, it didn't convict you for another person, that you just had something, it's for you.
You're going to trouble people now. Hey, this is why. Now you want to force people to just change you right away with you at that point when it was your conviction.
It was your conviction. You went and you started fasting and praying and meditating and doing all these things. And then your higher power, which is God for me, says, do this. Then I come in front of you all and say, the Lord has said the whole church needs to shave their heads. No, he said, you shave your head. Why don't you do it by yourself? Why are you throwing me in all these things that I didn't ask for? Wow. You shave. Now, if he says it to all of us, he can't just reveal it just to you. Sometimes there will be people in the congregation that feel the same thing you feel, and they can confirm that.
Noku, what has been what has been, because you're taking me to something to ask you, what has been your challenges through your journey, music, life, and what has made you because challenges makes us stronger. What particular challenge can you share with us, or particular story that you can think of short, that can make us understand that we can overcome things and still be as confident as you are right now?
Mm-hmm. So, with everything left equal, right? The Bible says that He did not promise us that the world was going to be easy or nice to us, right? I tend to be a stickler for time. And I realized that was a stronghold of mine. And probably that's small to me compared to relationships. I would say my biggest challenge is being still and waiting for God when it comes to like this relationship realm, right? To a point where I can hear His voice on anything else in my life. And over there, I'm like, wait, what do you mean be still? Let me help you. I can find my own, because I already know what I want. And then you get burnt in that and you're like, why did you bring them to begin with? But you wanted that. That's one realm for me, I would say. Just a couple months ago, I was questioning whether did I want to get married? Do I want a husband so I can have children? Or is it really like the children that I want, I don't want the husband? Or do I actually want the husband, but I don't really care about the children? So all of those things happen with time and age, right? And maybe with how plugged in you are, or lack thereof, I don't know, where you question things you've been taught, right? You question even God's word, that I know you say this, but I know the feeling is bad. Let me just have this for 2 seconds, and then I'll come back and repent, right? So for me, is probably my struggle is knowing that He got my whole life in His hand, but I feel like that one thing, He doesn't have my back. So I'll try to do it myself. And let's just say I'm still not married.
You know what? You're such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman. And, whoever doesn't see that or doesn't appreciate that, it's not for you. They're not for you. And, they will never be for you, because you are beautiful and you articulate, you have your head strong. There is someone there for you that is and people, I'm sure, are looking at you and say, whoa, how come this girl
what's wrong? And listen, I have DJ Daji, right?
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. He said to me, so, let's talk. I've seen a couple of people, you know, within a certain number of years. Like, so I'm wondering, like, what's wrong? Like, what's happening? You know?
There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, like, you know, so I said to him, I said, you know, when you're in your 20s, when you got married in your 20s, he said, yes. I said, all that mattered was love. We love each other. So we go get married. I said, the moment you pass 33, maybe 35, and then when you get closer to 40, where you can smell 40, and somebody comes to you with just love, you want to see what else is in the bag. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what does your credit look like? How's your walk with God? Or lack thereof? Because I feel like, you know, the scripture that talks about do not be unequally yoked with a non-believer. It's not only religion, the believer part. It's about anything. Right? If I believe that I have to give all my money away and stay poor, and you're thinking I got to keep all my money to be rich, the two of us can never make life work because we're going to fight. We don't believe the same thing. Right? So for me, I will date you. I will let you tell me what you're saying, what you're about. The moment I see that you lied, deuces. Because I'm old enough now to not go, oh, you know, when we get married, he's going to change. No.
Yeah.
Some things change, but not your character. Character takes forever to change. That's the one that will get your knees all tapped up. You're busy praying every 5 seconds. This person is just your worst nightmare. But because you wanted to be married, now you're stuck in this thing.
You know, I got very late as well, you know, finding someone who really cared, like really, it came pretty late. But, you know, one thing I've learned through the years, which I'm older than you, maybe I can impart a little bit, is that when the day that I realized that it don't matter anymore, if God has decided that I am going to be alone, you know, I'm going to have one child and that's it. I am closing my door. I am not going to look. So what I am going to do now, the love that I want, the care that I want from someone now, I am going to give it to myself. So I started dating myself. I started, you know, talking to myself as if I am, you know, in love. I started falling in love with myself. That way I started to glow. I started, are you dating? Are you out with someone? I didn't care no more. Like, oh wow, look at that couple. I was the couple. Who I was involved with? I was involved with God now. You know, He was now my relationship. You know, and then when I was the least expecting, you know, God would then put me into a troubled relationship. I went right immediately when I was glowing. Then people see you now. The moment you glow, the moment you're in a relationship, people start wanting you because they feel that. Like, but how come I haven't been? I was all this time, and now I'm meeting someone, and now people are showing.
Now they all want me.
They smell they can feel the energy of love. But when you do that and you give it to yourself, now you take yourself to the movies. Oh no, you have oh, I'm sorry, I have an appointment. I gotta go somewhere. I'm going to the movies. You know, you with who? No, that's not your problem. And then you take pictures and you are so happy and someone wants, and then they come, and then guess what? The one that is supposed to be the wrong one for you comes. And that is the test. You see, now you're glowing, and then God allows the devil to come. And then you're glowing, you're beautiful. The devil comes in, and you're like, oh, this is it. This is the guy.
I know.
And then you're like so happy you give in, but you're giving in to the devil himself. So that's where it's a very trick. But at that point, when you know who you are and what you want, like you already know, you're looking into the bucket, into the this devil, nah. You know what? You cut the clip and then you move. The moment you have known now yourself, you know what you can take and what you can't take. The right person then comes, but then the other one comes first.
Yes. Oh, and the wrong one could come after that one too.
Yeah, you know. But then the right one, when the right one comes, they come when you least expect, and probably he's right under your nose somewhere. He's coming somewhere. Believe me, and just don't expect, don't wait for him. Just you wait for yourself, and and do yourself, and you will see.
Yeah.
When you call me, our next conversation, you'll be like, Teresa.
I know.
Oh my.
I mean, something is happening now because I had to give that up, right? I had to say, Lord, you know what? Snap. All these bruises, bumps and bruises on my body, I've had enough. Now I will let you do it, right? And you see, when you're least expecting, things happen, right? Somebody kind of shows up, but you're kind of like, I'm gonna watch you this time because
Yes, and you do what
over here.
more careful too, and I am as well, but then the person would come with the love that is so amazing that you like, only God can give you this kind of love, and it has waited so long for you to get that. And that kind of love is the one that you don't even show off about it. You don't even need to say, oh, here I am, oh, finally, woo-hoo, me too. Man. You won't even need to do anything of like that, because it was gifted from you, so there's no need to even show it off.
I already have a song for him. I wrote him a song. I just need to go to the studio and lay it down, because I'm just like, Lord,
send it out. Send that song out. Write it. Send it out, because wherever he is, he's also waiting for you. Guess what? He is there too, waiting for you and wondering, where is this woman? And you're wondering where, and you kissing so many frogs. He's kissing so many frogs. You guys are all going, but you're just not meeting the right person. Maybe here, maybe the radio, maybe, you never know. It could be. You never know. I'll just get an email, someone saying, hey, Teresa, who was that beautiful chick you were talking to? Oh, my goodness, she is amazing. I'm like, yeah, very good. Talk to me.
Right, how do I do this? But no, I'm hopeful. With all the bumps and scrapes and bruises I got from trying to do it my way, I'm still hopeful, when it comes to love, because I recognize that it was just me. The ones that are God ordained, they stay, and doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but you guys fight together, right? I went to this relationship conference last week. They were talking to single people, separated people, married people, divorced people, right? But then the topic was more to married people, right? But what the pastor said is, when you're single and you're waiting, or whatever that is for you, just make sure that you don't, who you are, like who you're looking for is who you are too, right? If you want a guy with a 6-pack that works out a lot, you need to like the gym, because he's gonna want you to go, or else you're gonna think he's cheating every single time he goes to the gym. So he's like, some of these things, don't just want them, be about them too. I want a prayerful husband. Do I pray? Right? You want him to be able to impart God's love on others. Can you do it? Do you do it, Noku? Because I cannot have a bad heart and want a man with a good heart. All I'm going to do is drain him. Right? Yeah. Oh, you need to make me happy. It's no one's job to make you happy. You're supposed to be happy yourself. Like, can you imagine? That's too much work on another to make you happy.
I'm so happy. It is you have opened so many parts in me that you calmed me down with this whole expedition of the radio as well. You just gave me that maybe your message was for me. I have a feeling that you were maybe for me. I don't know who else. But for me, I'm really convicted with what you just said. And the challenge you just spoke, and you've overcome. And it's a lot of people go through relationships, problems. It is the number one, and which has actually even put people in vulnerable positions. And people have done terrible things. People have given themselves up to people that are horrible just because you want to be in that, so-called relationship. Earlier, you said to yourself, do I want a relationship because I want kids? Do I want a relationship because, I want the man? Or is it because a family? What is it that I want? I think that is usually the confusion that we end up getting entangled. And then at the end, you don't know why you are in this relationship.
Yeah. It's tough. When you get to a certain age, it's it's also pressure from other people, right? And so I've told people, for instance, in my case, they're like, so how do you know, like, what if, the clock is ticking, and what if you can't have kids and all of these things? And for me, that little light bulb about, oh, now I want children, did not turn on until last year. So last year I was 38, right? So
Are you
prematurely
serious?
done. Huh?
Are you serious? I
Yeah.
thought like maybe I'm so bad with math. Then you were trying to say 20. I'm like 99. I'm adding. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
No,
add.
I'm 39.
You're 29.
39.
That's amazing. You don't look it.
I'm 30. I'm
You are-
39.
I
I'm
thought you were
40.
29.
Yeah. You thought I was 29. Oh, thank you.
Because I was thinking you said 20 years old, and then you said 20 years old. I'm like, oh, she's 29. I'm so bad with calculating.
Yeah, I'm 39, and I could have probably gotten children. I mean, there's like places like sperm banks. People go and make a
I
child.
was going to say that, sometimes, I've wondered myself, because I only have one child, and I also wanted to have another child in a marriage, and it didn't happen, and things happened, right? However, like you were saying, you start to wonder, like, okay, maybe I should just go get a sperm and just do it. I just want a child. Should I really wait for someone? I mean, women now, we have the choices to make our own decision. We are independent. We can take care of our children.
Yeah.
Single mothers, you can still do it. Why do we need to have somebody? And there's some men who don't want to have children, but they will, donate their seeds.
Yeah.
So and I don't see any problem with that at all.
Yeah,
But then, if you were of a religious background, would you do it because you know that God says you have to be married and have a child?
Yeah.
Before, but would you now say, okay, I'm coming out of this, Lord, you haven't done your job. Now I need to go
Right.
and I'll do it myself.
I would probably adopt one, right? But I also am a firm believer of this, that God never activated me wanting to have a child earlier because it wasn't my time to have one, right? Now, is it my time now, right? I believe that I should be married to have kids. I've had friends that say, well, getting a husband does not qualify it working. You guys can still get divorced and you raise the child by yourself. And I said, yeah, but then my child would have been born in marriage, right? What happens after that? I'm not trying to secure a marriage because I want a child, but I don't want the marriage, right? If that's what it is, then just adopt a child. Now, the world, it is what it is, right? You have other religions. I believe that's Jehovah's Witness, that feel like if you need blood transfusion, you're not allowed to do that, just die, right? Now, if the doctor says, hey, we need blood, let's try to get blood.
Yeah.
Give me the blood, But there are the people that say, no, I don't want anyone else's blood, I'll just die, right? Or now with these places where now there's an option, right, where I can be inseminated and all these things that are available. They are available, but can you live with it? What does the Bible say, though, about that?
But
take it back to Africa. If I take it back to where we come from, where we say that they are ancestors and they are things, right? So you're going to take the seed of someone you don't know.
We don't know their ancestry. You don't know.
You don't know. The Bible says, do not be unequally yoked with a non-believer. Remember, we touched that the non-believer part is not, are you Christian and I'm a Christian? Are we Muslim and you're a Muslim? That's not the only non-believer part there is, right? It's anything I believe. Do you believe it? I mean, if we followed what God says we should follow, I don't care if you're Christian, non-Christian, Muslim, whatever. The Bible is just full of love, right? That if we followed it, we wouldn't need all these brands. I'm Methodist, I'm Baptist, I'm all of this. Which one did Jesus come say I am? He didn't say I'm Baptist, I'm Roman Catholic, He said, love your neighbor as thyself.
Yeah. And I think, oh my goodness, I just lost the track, the thought that it was a very powerful one. What you just on my mind. Yes,
now,
I was,
that was for you. That's why I went out of your mind.
yes, what I was saying that, I'm older than you. And when I was at 38, I thought I was old,
Okay.
and I didn't enjoy my age, because I didn't even want to say my age.
Yeah.
Now, when you're 38 and I see you're young, and I'm thinking, I wasted so many of those years
Thinking you're
so
old.
worried about me being old, so worried about, getting married. So I wasted so much and not enjoying my life. And when I look at my pictures of when I was 38 and I look at me now, I'm like, wow, I was beautiful. But at the time, I thought I'm old. I'm like, oh my God, look at me. Oh, look at this is coming out. Oh, I'm worried and obsessed. And I'm thinking, those days, and now I don't waste time at all. Now it's like every single minute of my age is precious, it's beautiful, and if you like me or you don't like me, that's okay. I've come to, maybe it comes with age too, but what I see is that at 38, I wasted because I felt I was old. I didn't even want to say my age,
Yeah. I mean, I get to those moments too. I get those moments where I'm just like,
don't, sweetheart.
Why are you asking?
Don't enjoy it because you are young. And also, I'm here. That's why I see it, that how young you are. Because when I was 38, when I was 33, every time, the moment I reached 30, it was complain. I haven't given married. Why is my life like this? Oh, my friends are married. This one is having a child. And 30 is, you're like, oh, time is passing my eggs. What? Oh, my goodness. I didn't
I know, but that also though is worldly, right? Like to say the clock is ticking. Whose clock are we talking about?
Exactly.
Because if I said only last year did I feel like I want to have a baby, that means then why would God have started my clock in my 20s? Who's making me realize, okay, now I think I can be a mother? Back then, probably I could have made it, but he didn't activate it for me. So some of my friends are just like, oh, why don't you just try? And I was like, try to do what? Because you have to be comfortable with what it is. You can't, if you go and get inseminated, now I want to. Now, that doesn't mean the thought hasn't crossed my mind. And I remember when one of my ex-boyfriends tried to come back, I said, well, what if I wanted to do this, would you do it? Would you help me, have a baby? Because I just thought, okay, it's
kind of bothered myself too.
But guess what? I wouldn't go through with it. Because I also want to have a husband. Now, yes, it doesn't guarantee having a child with someone that's married to you that it's going to work. But I didn't wait this long, though, to go through all of that. At the end of the day, when it starts crumbling, I go back to God and say, seriously, what is this? If it's me who should change, then show me where I should change. If it's him, then how do I pivot and make sure that my marriage works? I mean, I feel like sometimes we do things to ourselves that we say, today I don't care, right? I'm just like, I want this child. Tomorrow I need help. Then I go to God and say, how come you're not sending anyone to help me?
And funny thing is, what I've learned myself is that I've been in a relationship, and then you're with this person, you're like, no, this is the one I want to have a baby with. This is the guy I've just met. I'm gonna have, and you're praying to God, let's just make this, and nothing every month, nothing, no pregnancy, no nothing, and you're like, and then suddenly the relationship breaks, and you're like, thank you, Lord. So if I'd had a child with that one or that one, where would I be? Like and you say, you come here, you're like, and I sit down and I'm like, all the times I wanted to have children or kids, I'm thinking, no, man. And I'm happy. I am totally so happy right now that it did not come to anything, and and it's gone, and I don't have any ties that ties me to that person or that relationship at all. And you kneel down and say, God,
thank you
for tying my fallopian tubes, for tying. So sometimes, like you were saying, whose clock is it?
Yeah.
So God knows the right time where he's going to open the door so that, it's Not for everyone. If it's not for the one, he won't come in.
Something too, because like you talk, you could sleep with someone and still not get pregnant, because I would say babies are a blessing from God, right? They're people, like when I was young, I didn't understand when married people keep saying, we're trying. I was like, what are you trying? Like, you just do it and have a baby, right? Because you're not thinking like, what are you talking about? And then I had one of my friends, who had multiple miscarriages. And that's when I realized, like, snap. Right. And they say, oh, though, when you get closer to 40, you have to start taking these pills because your child might be blah, blah, blah. Or your child might be this, or this might happen. And I'm just like, whose clock is this? We can both be infected by the same thing, but our immune system is not going to respond the same. Case in point, COVID. Some people recover from it and some people don't. So is it fair to say that everyone with COVID is going to die? Or everyone with COVID is not going to die? It's not a fair statement. It's not a true statement, actually. Right? So for me, I'm like, if he only activated me last year, my clock didn't start ticking until last year. It cannot have started ticking in my 20s because I would have had to feel that I want to have a baby, but I never thought about that. I've always thought about the husband though, right? Not the baby part.
Wow.
And I mean, as little girls, we start planning, like I was like at 21, I'll be married and blah, 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 blah. And this is how my life is going to be.
I think I want to talk about that. I know our time is gone, like way so over. The good thing is, like, I'm my own manager, so I can decide. That's nice.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning into Life Online Radio Station, Life's best online radio. I am just going to cut this one here online, and then we can just continue if you still have time. So we can put this one off for a minute. Thank you so much for tuning into Life Online Radio Station. I know this is so beautiful that I don't even want this to end, to organize the conversation. And thank you. We'll be talking soon. Noku, this is now, we're still live. Now the radio is on its own. Your music is going on right now. Now, relationship is such a hard thing. What would you say to young females, young kids, and especially when before I even ask you that, I was asking you about challenges, right? How you overcame. Oh my goodness, am I going through menopause or something like that? Okay, let me go back to the question. So what would you say to the young ones that are upcoming young ladies that have gone through all this, trauma, especially with relationship, and they have a talent? Now, how do you separate that together?
Your talent and the
I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, we have challenges, but then we also have talent.
Mm-hmm.
How do you now be able to merge the two and still overcome? Because talent also has its own challenge, and then you have a relationship with parents, a relationship with family. How do you separate?
Sometimes they're better off left separate, I think, right? We deal with things, how they say women, we have multiple boxes in our brains, and not one box has one topic. It might be 10 million topics in each box, whereas men, they can separate the things. Sometimes some things just have to stay separate, right? The way I do it, for instance, right? I believe that everything in my life is awesome. And guess what? My level of awesome, that means there's challenges and things that break and things that fall apart in there. But it could be worse. It's not, right? I'm still managing. Then with my music, it got delayed because I didn't know where to go. I didn't trust some of the producers. You hear things out there, right?
Yeah, that was the question.
Then you have to decipher everything you hear from people to your call, right? Let's take it to jobs. I think I'm awesome. I think I'm a great engineer. I think this, I think that about myself. But then let's say this good job comes along and I apply and I don't get it. Then I start beating myself up on, maybe it's that one question that you didn't answer correctly. Maybe it's what I always tell myself is those people are human too. If you bring you in there. There's one question that I hate answering and I do not like it and I still don't like it. And I know in most interviews they will ask it, tell us more about yourself. I hate that question.
But I figured that question out.
The reason why I don't like it, because to some extent is my self-centeredness, right? We always say other people are selfish and self-centered. It's because I think so little of myself, or sometimes that pride comes in, and I'm just like, oh, because I want to be a great Christian, I don't want to sound boastful.
And blow your own horn.
Exactly. But the question was just asked. It's not like I walked in and said, let me tell you about me. That's not what happened, right? You're asking me because what they're trying to figure out is your personality going to mesh with their corporate culture, right? So that way, if it doesn't, everybody goes their separate ways. It's not always about what you know. It's about, for instance, when I would hire people, culture was the first thing. What type of personality do you have? I know what you know. I see what you know because you say you know it. But let's see personality-wise. Do you think so highly of yourself that you think no one else knows more than you? And if you're that person, to me, you're not coachable, right? So if there's struggles in your life, and then there's your passion, and then if you're married, there's husband, there's children, and everything else, and you try to balance and juggle all these different departments, we can do it. One day at a time. If you just figure out where that failure noise in your head comes from, right? If you think you failed in something, it's because you're comparing yourself to something else. What is that thing that you're comparing, or who is that person? Because you have a radio station, I don't, right? I want to have a station, but instead I can support you and learn from you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna start mine, and mine's gonna be better than hers.
And you showed me, you said something very profound, that if I teach you, it doesn't mean that you're going to be better. Did you say better than me?
Yeah, you're not going to be better than me.
You're not going to be better. Wow. So it's okay to teach, because sometimes you don't want to teach. You're like, why am I even, sharing? I struggle to get where I am. Where am I just going to give?
Yeah, let's see you fall too, then I'll tell you.
And that's what you said. Like, you want other people to struggle the same way you struggled.
Yeah.
Which is hitting so many points, man. Girl, this is really serious.
Because someone who always wants
this lesson was for me.
Because guess what? You can tell me how you started your radio station, and you tell me, man, and I thought this was gonna work, and this is where I crashed the most. Then I'll be like, okay, note to self, don't do that, right? And you tell me, and this one, don't even do it. This is where it actually falls apart. And then I do it, then it doesn't fall apart for me, right? So then, it doesn't mean then because you were better than me. It just means you were called to do that one thing that I couldn't do. Then you're going to try and train another person. When you train them, they're going to say, you know what, Teri, I hear you, but can you do it for me? So right there, you just made another form of a stream of income. Because not everyone you teach is going to grasp it and do something with it. I mean, we all know what to do. We know what's right. Do we always do what's right? No. What we know. Some of us are supposed to pay people to do it.
Yeah, some people don't have to find an engineer.
Yeah.
And I had to engineer it myself. It all together, but because of COVID, of course. But then maybe if COVID didn't happen, I could have hired someone to come. I could have done someone to come and do all that. So now, what are the challenges in music specifically with the growth? Do you find that gospel music is hard to push compared to other, what you call that kind of music, other kinds of music?
Yeah. I think all music is hard. It's hard to push. I think all of it, because who consumes this music? People. And again, what we touched on, some people are envious. Some people, like we said, they'll go and say, but I don't want to give her that like because I don't want her to know that I was there, right? All of these things happen. Even for me, I don't listen to all Christian music. I don't listen to all types of music. There's some music I'm just like, oh no, like, what is this? What were you thinking? You know what I mean? And there's someone who listens to my music and says, I cannot stand her voice. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I don't like the way she laughs. I don't like but there's enough people out there for every one of us. That's what I had to, okay, let's do this. Last year, before I released my album, I was talking to one of my girlfriends, Angel, And I said to her, man, like, I'm trying to figure out what genre. I don't know, like, which one is much popular, which one will people follow. And she made the bread aisle example for me. And she said, even toothpaste. Do you use every single toothpaste on the toothpaste aisle? No. And she said, but then there's somebody who buys that one, or else that manufacturer would have gone out of business. But all of them are still competing. They're not trying to steal. They're not even trying to look the same as the other one. Colgate is Colgate. Aquafresh is Aquafresh. Sensodyne is Sensodyne.
I like the baking powder one. And I was like, if it's not there, I really freak out. And when I taste any other one, I'm like, why?
Exactly. So guess what? For why you envy me, there are people that are going to think I'm talking about them. I'm also talking about myself. There are people that are going to think, Noku, all your songs are always trying to hit on someone. Like, first you talked about Usindisi, where, bring your Bible if you want to come at me, blah, blah, blah. Because I realized that some Christians and some non-Christians are going to want to say, but are you though? Yeah. I've seen you with a glass of wine, but are you really saved? I've seen you, in a lounge somewhere. Are you still saved? Are you sure?
So you keep talking to that guy.
Yeah. So then my thing is, exactly, I see you with this guy, like, girl, he's a womanizer. But wait, I think you're a mananizer. Is that the word for a man? You're a mananizer. Like, I've seen you with
that's a woman.
Womanizer and a mananizer. You're a mananizer. I've seen you with this guy and this guy and this guy. What I will say to somebody who goes through that, because I go through it sometimes, people say all these things. And my thing is, I am a friendly person, I would like to think. I can talk to you, but it doesn't mean I want you. Yes. I can say, excuse me, and give you my last dollar. It doesn't mean that I want recognition after you make it with my dollar, right? You've heard people say, if I give you $1 and you play the lottery, you get to split your winnings with me. And then I always say, no, when I win, I will give you your $1 back so you can also go play. Because I didn't have it. Right? So now I could do that.
I promise you
I'll give you $1 back so you can play too. But it's that thing of expectation, because you helped me get somewhere. Now you're expecting me to pull you to that level. How about if I pulled you 5 steps up, not necessarily to my level? Did I do you wrong? No, I did not. Wow. But there was also an expectation there, an unspoken expectation that when you gave me your dollar, you expected me to elevate you. But maybe that was not even my intentions, nor did we even talk about that. That's why in the music industry, people have to sign contracts and read your contract. Yes. You buy a house, you buy a car, you read the contract. Because I can tell you it's 10%. Huh?
Yeah, I want us to go back in. This was just on our live show. Now we're going to go back into the radio again. We're going to talk to our, we have like 15 minutes until my show ends. So we still have, my show is pretty long on these days, for days like this, where we can stretch, and just be ourselves and just, express love this way. So I'm just going to go back inside and just say hi, and you can say your last goodbyes, and then we can still continue if you feel like you want to do that. Okay. Welcome back to Life Online Radio Station. This is still the Captain Teri P show right here on Life Online Radio Station, broadcasting from Manitoulin Island, and we are in Texas. We are in the U.S.
Yes, Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Tell us, I'm with Noku, Dlamini, and we're having a blast. If you are not on our website, you're really missing. Just go in there, click on that play button on our screen, and it will take you to our screen. But then we will share it later. I'll share it with you, Noku. I'll put it up on Facebook, or we can share it later. Now, I'm with Noku, Dlamini, and I just wanted Noku to just give us our last goodbyes, or just a message, to our listeners who are listening right now. Some people are going through a very hard time what is the message for your music? I know you've just been talking, and would this message also help people who are going through a rough time, especially now? Look at Haiti, has had a terrible earthquake as we speak. We've had people who've just lost their lives. Those are our brothers and sisters. There are some other places in Afghanistan. The Taliban is moving in, and about women equality, and a lot of young women get raped.
Yeah.
So as a Christian woman, and a woman who talks about love, and you're saying love is mercy, love is grace, love is what else did I miss? But lots of mercy. I think you said lots of mercy, lots of grace, and that is how can you now comfort all this pain in this world with your music and your messages?
Yeah, so I believe like my music is for everyone. It will touch each person though differently. Like I said, like if we're talking about envy, for instance, right, it's either you remembering someone envying you, or actually you are envious, because it's not a one-way street. We all can have all these emotions. When we look at what's happening in Haiti, we look at what was happening in South Africa some weeks back when there was looting because they wanted the former South African president to be released. When we look at what happened in Houston in I believe it was March, where we had that freeze, right? You look at all those things happen, right? And then there's this question that everyone always asks, like, why do bad things happen to good people, right? So I always say things happen. Good things happen to bad people as well. It's not only bad things happening to good people, but there's also good things happening to good people and good things happening
to a lot of the bad people.
So it's unfortunate, what's happening with Haiti. It's we can blame it on global warming. We can blame it on a lot of things, and some people will dare to even take it and make it more biblical, and and say that God doesn't like something that Haiti is doing, right? I remember when all these hurricanes seemed to hit Louisiana a lot. Some Christians said God is trying to get Louisiana's attention. All these floods, right? I mean, I don't know how many times Louisiana got hit. And I was like, why does it have to be that? Why does it mean that Louisiana has to repent? Why can it just not mean that they're very close to? I mean, they're like right there, And they said, well, Houston is too. I'm like, Harvey came to Houston.
Wow.
Right? Things happen. And because we don't know everything that's going to happen or how it's going to take place. Do I know for a fact that if this was Noah's, like during the Noah time, when God told Noah to build an ark, if I was going to be one of the people on the ark, or was I going to be
same? Why in the world is he doing? He's been building that thing for 10 years.
Right? Maybe I would have been rejoicing at the club and, say, hey, Noah, let me know when you're done. I don't know where. There's movies we watch that invoke certain feelings from us. Why are you getting convicted, right? That's what you have to watch. Whatever that convicts you, there is something about you. It's not that person. It's not whoever said it. It's you. Maybe it's convicting them, but then it ends up convicting you too. So to say that my music is for everyone, in times where people are probably hurting, it might give some comfort, right? It depends on which stage of life you're in, what's happening to you at the time. If you feel like dancing, you might listen to that. You might even listen to it and say, this is not even Christian. It's not biblical. Our music is just like Twinkies. It's just fluff. I don't know, but there is someone out there that it's for. Because then why did I do it? I thought I was going to be famous a long time ago when I was 22, because I already knew that I loved to sing. But I did nothing with it, and that's why my slogan is always that fear plus ignorance equals delay, not failure.
Hold on. Okay. I'm going to be repeating these on the radio. Plus ignorance.
Yeah, fear plus ignorance equals delay, not failure.
So
and delay on whose part? On my part. Not God delayed to activate it. He already put it in my heart. I knew that that's what I love to do, right? But I delayed on myself. I didn't know where to go, nor did I ask anyone else if there's another route for me to use, if there were other people, if there were other Christian producers. I didn't look. I was busy with whatever I was doing, having a great old time. Right?
And that's it. That's good.
Having a grand old time, sinning, being in the world, and knowing that God loves me, and repenting and doing it all over again. Right?
Yeah.
And that's I'm like, you know what's right and you know what's wrong, and we tend to do what's wrong because we know that there's enough mercy. Right? We go to sleep when the last thing I say to you is, see you tomorrow, talk to you tomorrow. Do I know for a fact? I don't.
And there's the thing right behind you. We worry about tomorrow like it's a promise.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep. And it's not promised. That's why. And then some people, they take that and then they say, then today do everything under the sun, just in case you die. I'm like, what if you don't? You're going to have to live with some of those things you did tomorrow.
Yes.
What if you don't? The last
tomorrow is and tomorrow never comes because it's always today.
Listen, every morning, I don't read my Bible every day. Say Noku is a gospel artist, and I don't read my Bible every day. Right? I talk to him every day, though.
Mm-hmm.
I pray every day. Right? First thing I say when I wake up is, morning, Lord. Right? Before it used to be grab my phone, look at Facebook. Right? Now,
I don't do that at all. I actually even keep my phone outside my room just so that I don't have to do that. I have to just have time with me, and it's allowed. And sometimes you feel like your phone is like if you don't have your phone, it's like you are messing other people.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna be needing you, and you don't have your phone. It's like, no, man, what happened when this was this old phone that I have? I don't know. You see
landline.
No, this one with the ring phone.
Oh wow!
The old. Which one are you speaking? I think you listen with this.
Yeah.
Speak with the. Speak with this or you.
Yeah, no, you did it right. It's like that.
So,
we found a way to think we're needed every time.
I know. Right, and
the level I would like to get to, here's the level I would want to get to, is to not waste my words on every single thing. To know when I should speak and when not to speak, right? Like that's to not take every invite that I'm given into an argument. You don't have to.
Yes, that's beautiful. I like that.
Go into every argument that you're invited to. You don't know what to talk on and when to shut up.
It has it in the Bible. I don't know where. Yes. The Bible where it says even a fool looks dignified if they don't open their mouth.
Yes. Because why now? Take that scripture and go back to what I said about the devil not knowing what you're thinking when you don't say it. Right? He doesn't. He doesn't know what you're about. He doesn't know when I log off here where I'm going, but God knows.
Noku, you know what? You're telling the truth because, sometimes when we speak before things happen, we're talking, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm traveling to Haiti and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that and then tomorrow and then nothing happens, and then you wonder why didn't it happen? You spoke before time.
Yeah, but maybe it wasn't for you. Somebody activated it. Maybe you were watching a show, right? I was listening to a show right now interviewing Noku, and I heard Noku say, these are my challenges, and it sounded familiar, and I was like, so I'm gonna try what she tried. Why are you doing what Noku said?
But sometimes what I can try what you tried and it works as well too. Right?
Yes.
So, and I think
but if it doesn't work though, don't kill yourself over it.
Yes.
Because it could have been that it wasn't for you.
Yes.
You tried it, but nobody guaranteed. I didn't guarantee that if you do it, you're going to win. You could do it and win. And praise God when you win, because that means you meant for you to hear this and it was for you. Sometimes you can be on here and you hear it, but it's not for you to try. It's for you to tell someone else, you know what? Maybe this is the time we change our legacy and stop being selfish. Because I've come across people that say, I want to spend all my money now. Why should I leave you? Why should I leave them all my money? I save it, I die, they enjoy it. And I'm like, you don't have to be selfish. Because if you don't save now, and let's say you don't die, and you actually get into retirement and you didn't save, what are you going to do? Because while you were young, we heard how selfish you are, that you don't want us to live, you don't want to leave us with anything. Now you're in retirement, you didn't do what was right because you thought you were going to die before your money ran out. But let's say you don't. Now you're going to expect me then with my money to take care of you because you are selfish. You know, I tell people today, I'm like, if you're going to burn all your money, buy all these Louis Vuittons, go on multiple vacations and post it on Instagram, on Facebook, and all of this stuff, it's all grand because we think you don't have problems. But please be saving, because the same people you show that lifestyle to, when you do your GoFundMe, it's going to be hard for them to want to give anything because they're like, why did you blow all your money? I was busy working my 9 jobs while you were posting at every beach.
Like, you know, you are in Hawaii.
Yeah, now I gotta give you my gold. Like, now I gotta give $20 to. You know what? I will actually give you $20. But if, and I'm not saying hide your lifestyle, don't. But save as well. Stop being selfish. Save because you don't know what tomorrow is gonna bring. Yes, live today like there's no tomorrow, but don't be foolish about it either. You know, whatever it is, save something.
Wow. Thank you so much, Noku Dlamini. I am so blessed by the words, you know, by everything you've just talked about here. It has been very impactful for me. Honestly, I really, really think this was specifically for me. I don't know anyone else who's watching or who's listening or who was listening, but the words really came straight into my heart and it has liberated me. I feel so liberated, especially with this venture that I'm doing. And I can't thank you so. Stay with me here. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into Life Online Radio Station. This is the end of our show. And I had an amazing show with Noku Dlamini. We're broadcasting from Manitoulin Island, and she is in the US. Texas, no, Houston, yes, Texas.
Houston,
I get confused. Houston, Texas. So I got it right. So much. We will be replaying this and very soon. And right now, you'll be listening to the Afrobeats with Ronnie live. Wow, it's incredible, darling.
I almost worried. She didn't send me the questions. What is she gonna ask me? What if I don't know the answers to the questions? Then I thought, well, I mean, she can only ask you stuff that you don't know. Just say, I don't know.
We're still live here. We're still live here. On here. We're still live. Just so you know. Wow, that was amazing. It was incredible. I mean, just the thought of it, especially the relationship part of it, how much we go through so much. And it's everybody, right? Everybody goes through the same. People are going through divorce. And COVID has also been another reason people actually decided that I don't want to be with this person now. Or people have realized a whole lot of things about.
Yeah, it's crazy. I have friends that are going through stuff right now because they found out now last year that the spouse is not who they were and blah blah blah. And you know, I don't judge anyone. At the end of the day, I'm just like, you know what? Listen, what you do, what I decide today is going to be between me and God, right? I'm not going to be judged for what you did, but for what I did. I don't have to, when I'm suffering my consequences, it's not because you forced me to do something. Sometimes I'm a willing participant, and sometimes I am forced. But if you force me into doing something I don't want to do, I'm not going to be judged for that. But you are going to be judged for leading me astray. So if we just do those things and just know like our place, just know it matters what comes out of my mouth, right? Jesus said it's not what goes in the mouth that defiles a man, but it's what comes out. You know, to debunk this thing about pork is bad. Yeah, pork is bad for you health-wise, but they say it's an unclean animal and all of these things. And I'm like, I can eat something, it's gonna go out, right? Either way. But the word out of my mouth is what matters. It's what will resonate with you more. Either they're going to build you up or they're going to tear you down. What is my message? To build people up or to tear them down? It's the choice.
And you're right about not wasting words. This sometimes people just call you just for chit chat, and sometimes we waste a lot of words, and that's the same thing. Watch what you say, what comes out.
I always say, what I say about you to other people, can I say it to you? If the answer is no, don't say it. Don't. Whatever it is, if I cannot say it to you, not to say that, she's messy, nothing's like that. But if there's a question about you that I have, I need to be able to say, girl, I think what you did was wrong, or what you said to that person was wrong, as we laugh about it because we're friends, right? But if I can't say it to you, about you, then I shouldn't say it to other people about you.
Oh, yeah. It's true. But people do that a lot. We do that too, a lot. Yeah.
Sometimes you tell around
the moment you move.
I know.
Oh, did you see? Sometimes you want to just put a tape recorder and just but it doesn't matter. Because people always talk.
When somebody tells me, hey, so-and-so was talking about you, and they say, and then they said this, and then they said this, and then they said this, I always ask them, what did you say when they said that about me? Because you could have killed that conversation before it went to, and then Noku this.
I just wanted to know what they think about you. I just wanted to hear what they said, what they were saying.
Yeah. And after you heard all of that, what did you say to them? Did you say, man, it's likely she did?
Yeah.
But now when you're telling me, you're only telling me what they said, but you don't tell me what you said to them? What did you say?
Tell me about Houston, Texas right now. What kind of weather do you guys have? What kind of, what's going on with the COVID especially? Are people out there enjoying themselves?
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a lockdown in Houston. I mean, last year was, but this year is just like Canada is doing a very good job compared to the US. Like, we're just like, what do you mean? Houston is very sunny. It's kind of like cloudy right now. It rained really bad yesterday. COVID, now obviously, this is happening everywhere now that people are saying if you're vaccinated, the unvaccinated people are the ones that are spreading the Delta variant and all of this thing, right? Whatever. My thing is, everyone should be wearing masks still. Everyone. If anything, actually, you're now more protected because there are people that when they talk, saliva flying out of their mouth. Before COVID, you're protected now for it at least not hitting your lip.
Yeah, dropping on your lips. This one country, I won't say the name, but they would just spit everywhere. Everywhere you go, it's just spit. Yeah. I've never seen anything like that in that country. I was so surprised. Like, you're walking, ping, ping, and imagine those days.
You're trying to look down so you don't
you step on it and you're like, what's going to your hand? You have to dodge the spit. For real, you have to dodge the spit. People just spit. No, for real. I'm not joking.
Dodge it on the floor as it's flying out.
Yeah, everywhere in the elevator. I swear, in the elevator, you're all in the elevator. Right there. I've seen it, but I'm not going to say which country. But I would travel to this country and I saw that. I was so shocked.
Offline,
I was really shocked. I was shocked. But then imagine now we didn't even have masks then.
Yeah, I think there's a level of hygiene, obviously, that we lack, right, as people now. There's so much study on whatever. The people are saying people are getting sick from the same mask because you're breathing out, breathing back in, whatever. And I'm like, Snap, if it's your thing, then don't you want to just infect yourself? Why are you trying to infect other people? Wear a mask anyway. I don't want whatever that is. There's a time where I would not wear a mask, right? Like even recently, until I heard like, oh, these COVID numbers are going up. Then I thought, Snap, I guess we have to go back to this mask thing. Now, for someone who who's had it before, do I have any superstitious beliefs that I think I won't get it again, or if I get it, it'll be better? No, I'm not thinking any of those things. People are like, well, because you've had it, you should actually get vaccinated. Same again. I don't feel inclined to, like, it hasn't, right? Because you do something because you can't
have a conviction.
Yeah. I have to be convicted about it. I have to believe it. Now, if I do it for you, right? There are people that are getting vaccinated and people are losing limbs and people are getting strokes and people are dying from the vaccine itself. People who have never had COVID before and people who have had it before or whatever. All these things are happening. Now, could we say maybe on my part it's fear? I don't know, maybe a little bit of fear, but I hear all these things. Bottom line, I'll just say I'm not convicted yet. Now, I always tell people that they can force me to do it, and the way they're going to force me is telling me you can't go to South Africa if you're not vaccinated. Then I'm going to have to do it because all my family's in South Africa. I want to come to Canada. Canada said if you're not vaccinated, you ain't coming over here. You know what I mean? So those are the decisions you make. And are they going to shut us down, like lockdown? Yeah, then we're going to go into another lockdown. I just feel like people have forgotten hygiene and they've forgotten whatever's causing COVID. Honestly, I mean, think about 6 feet apart. That's not a bad thing to do because some people will be like right here and breathing down your neck. And I'm like, move back a bit.
Personal space.
Personal space. Yeah, just think about, maybe I want to turn around, but you're so close to me. The moment I turn, I hit you. Yeah. That's why you were too close to me. Right?
And I had an interview with one young man, and I asked him, he's like 14 years old. I asked him, so what has COVID done to you and done, made you realize? Says, personal space. I think we've learned to respect personal space. That, this is don't just come all the way to me now. So people are already giving each other and I thought that was quite interesting, like people are starting to realize that your aura, because we all have this round personal place where when somebody comes too close is too much, right?
Yeah.
And I think the world had become too much that there was no longer personal space anymore. That's why we probably got so sick.
Yep. I talked to my friend yesterday. They're in Nigeria, and they said there's no COVID in Nigeria. I said, how come? Online says 2,211 people died from COVID. And he said, where's the stats for that? They believe that it's malaria. People have malaria because COVID has the same tendencies as malaria, right? And I was like, well, you can say that probably about Nigeria, about the weather they have, or they only have summer as far as I'm concerned, and then the rest is just weather, right? Tropical season, rainy season, whatever. You go to South Africa, we have 4 seasons. Right? South Africa is winter, there's autumn, there's spring. So when they said COVID is a cold thing, because in the US it was winter, people were dying of COVID in South Africa, yet it was summer. So that's the thing that threw me off. I was like, okay, so if it's cold related, why is it in South Africa? Why are people dying in the heat? Now, fast forward, it's summer, in the middle of summer in the US, and COVID is still there. So is the vaccination really the way to go? Is it really doing what it's supposed to? Is it the unvaccinated people that are spreading COVID? And if it's them, where are they getting it from? Like, we're going to the COVID factory.
But then the ones say this person was vaccinated.
Exactly. They'll never say it is. Because I'm like, okay, look at Texas now. Texas is within the US. Texas is its own country. I always tell people. They can decide, the president can decide whatever in Texas, say we're not doing that. Right? Whatever. They do whatever they want. So they said, when you're vaccinated, don't wear a mask. Non-vaccinated people should wear a mask. And I said, well, that's kind of dumb. Because then if you can still get COVID, yet you're vaccinated, wouldn't you still want to wear a mask? Because a mask is to protect me from infecting you, right? But let's say I don't care to wear a mask. You should have been wearing it because being vaccinated is not stopping you from catching it. So everyone should be wearing a mask still.
Yeah, exactly. So now when we go biblical, it's so at a certain point, people say that this is the mark of the beast. And it says that in the mark of the beast, it says, I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying that, just talking about it. It says that you can't buy bread, you can't go into any stores, you cannot travel if you don't have it, you cannot do, and either have to take it in your body or you have to embed it in your hand or on your forehead. Right now, it's in your hand. It's embedded in your hand. I'm not saying that's the one, but the
Yeah.
symbolism kind of seems
Yeah.
like it is something that is inside yourself that we have input, and it is even it goes on to say that those that do not do it will be ostracized. Those that do not do it will be, put aside and shamed and made to a point where you are forced
To do
to
it.
actually do it, where you have no choice. Now, me as a Christian, I've always said that I will never take the mark of the beast. If it ever comes, it's always the 666.
Yeah.
Maybe not 666. Maybe it's a barcode, but that you can find them. They have barcodes. What if then that this is something to do with something like that? Who would we know or wouldn't we know? Because it's similar, it's very similar. It's like
Yeah.
you can't travel, you can't do this, you can't buy bread, you can't come into my store, you can't do, and this is why the way it's going in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
You can't do all these things, and then those now that don't take it, are we gonna just suffer? Or if you don't take it, those don't take it, are they going to suffer because they've made a choice not to put that thing in their body?
Yeah.
Or not, either could be religious reasons or it could be health reasons. So
Yeah.
you're going to be crucified because you did not take it.
Yeah, I mean, even now, most of my friends are vaccinated, and I'm not pushing not getting vaccinated. Um, just follow what you always follow, right? If you feel it within yourself to do it, then do it. If there are people that you trust in your life that tell you that you have to do it, and these are you and your immune system, you and your body, right, when you're gonna do it. They always ask me, like, how come you're not? You need to know Noku, so then we're not safe around you. And I said, no, I'm also not safe around you guys, because if a vaccinated person can get it, you can still bring it to me. Right now, how my body's going to respond to that COVID variant, I don't know. Right, I saw how it responded before. Will it respond the same way again? I don't know. But I still don't have that inclination to do it.
But when you put on a mask, you're saving other people. I would like to think that.
From me, yes, right? From me, like, I would have wanted to save you even without a mask. If I knew that, let's say, for instance, I had AIDS, right? If I had AIDS and somebody is interested in me, I have to tell them that I have AIDS. Not have the fear that if I tell them they're going to leave. Now they can leave. Wouldn't you rather have somebody stay because they want to stay than stay because you're making them stay? And if you don't tell anyone the truth, you're making them stay. You've made the decision for them because you decided that if I tell you, you're going to leave me. For me, I'd rather you go, because there is somebody who's going to then be okay with what I have. But we cannot subject everyone on everything, that we do.
It's being done anyways. It's being subjected and it's being pushed.
Yeah, it's going to be, just like everything else. I feel like we get subjected to people's sin too. There are people that I would say I sin too. The difference between me and some people is that you can't see mine, but it doesn't mean I'm not a sinner. And then there are people that wear theirs on their sleeve. So then when I tell you that sin, you can't get mad. I wasn't saying I'm perfect. I'm recognizing that you ask me a question, yes, I think that's sinful. I have my own sin too, but for you'd have to ask me what mine is, because I don't display it. That's the difference. Not perfect and non-perfect. We are imperfectly perfect for each other.
Wow. Incredible.
For me, I don't know. This COVID thing, honestly, I don't know. My mom is vaccinated.
Yeah.
But I tell her, wear your mask.
Like,
Whether
you do or not.
Scientist, but I can only do what's best for me. And if something happens to me, God forbid, prematurely, which we just talked about, there's no such thing as premature, right? It'll be premature for me, but maybe that was my end time, right? If something happens, whichever way it happens,
yeah,
that's what was supposed to happen.
Wow. Let me do something here. Don't go away. Just stay with me, okay?
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna end that.